You the real MVP, dog. I'm the type of guy that is always looking for magic bullets. How am I going to find something that will take a thing we think is impossible and make it easy? For example, when I did Twitter 10K, my goal was to get 10,000 followers as quickly as possible. I could have spent months and months building an audience and doing all the things that the gurus say to do, but instead, I ran Twitter ads and hit the 10,000 followers in 24 hours. We did it again with auto giveaways, shortcutting the path to an audience overnight and then sharing it with you. That's what I like to do here. We don't want long pathways to success. We want to set goals, hit those goals, then move on to something else as quickly as possible. What does that have to do with hiring an agency? I'm an entrepreneur who has spent now close to $1 million in development costs across multiple projects. LeadShark as a SaaS cost us just under 100K. Taplio made us money, which is cool. Omni cost us well over $100,000 to do. And other various failed projects also have cost a lot of money. I've also overseen millions of dollars of development, being the top salesman for an Inc. 5000 fastest growing company a couple of years ago, selling software development to funded startups and major corporations in New York City. So I know a thing or two about what it takes to be successful when working with a development agency. But before we jump into it, make sure you subscribe for more videos like this, smash that like button, and why don't we just go talk? Why the smash with the like button thing? Let's just get into it. What is the problem with working with an agency? First up, your goals are misaligned. An agency is in it for one thing. They want to make the most profit from the project. I'm working on a software project right now, and I'm documenting it at startyoursas.com. And after I came up with the idea and mapped out everything, it was time to go to a development agency. I'll talk about the process to get to that point later on in this video. But it was time to go to a development agency. And so I talked to over a dozen agencies. The budget in my mind for this project was $3,000. And we raised $17,000 for the startup up to that point. I think we've raised now $21,000 or more, depending on when you've watched this video. So I wanted to keep it well under that budget. And I pitched a bunch of developers. And we got numbers all over the place. One developer said he would do it for $1,000, for $3,000. One developer said he would do it for $20,000. But for me, special deal, he'll do it for $10,000 because he loves me and my content. And it reminded me that agencies aren't in it for client success. Agencies are only in it for the money. They're only going to work with you if they can make profit on the project. They don't care that your project is going to be the next big thing. They don't care if you're a huge name. The only exception to that is if you are a giant brand or you're a YouTuber or someone else that they think can be added to their portfolio, which again will help them get more clients and thus get more money. So if you can convince them that your project is going to make them more money by being in the portfolio, sure, you can save some money, but that's still them only working with you because they want to make money. They're not going to be the visionaries, which leads us to the first mistake that people make when hiring an agency, which is expecting insights from the agency. Now to the thing I promised before. When it came time to develop this new software as a service project, I'll give you an idea of where we are in the process. There was come up with the idea, then map out the features, then simplify the features so that we can build it for minimal cost, then hire a designer to design every screen, then pitch and price out developers. In that order. If we just had an idea and maybe a spec sheet that we're writing out, hey, the thing should do this thing, and then we give it to developers, they come back with high estimates because you can't expect developers to see your vision. In fact, you can't expect designers to see your vision either. For this SaaS, which I can't reveal because it's only revealed inside of our private community, although you'll definitely see it once it's launched in a month or two. For this SaaS, it has a feature that is the killer feature of it, and it's cool. And for a while, I thought I could just explain this feature to the developers and the designers and have them understand it. But no, they were coming up with estimates all over the place when in my mind, I knew this feature was very, very simple. It just looked complex from the outside. And so I got out a notebook and drew out what I was thinking. And it was only at that moment that I realized I had no idea how to make this simple. And so I had to sit there with frustration for 2-3 hours. I went for a walk. I came back. I went for another walk. I came back again. And then finally, it hit me how to simplify this and make it work in a way that could be done for cheap. But 2 to 3 hours of the founder's time is worth 30 to 60 hours of the developer's time. Meaning, I care the most about this software project. I'm going to crack the code and make this as simple as possible. And that's why we'll be able to build this software project for less than $5,000. I'm telling you this as we're 60% complete, and I think I've spent $2,000 total on development or less. It's because I didn't expect the developers to do any of the mind work. You as the founder need to do all of that work. And if you can do it, then you're fine. Big mistake number 2, and this has cost me well over $200,000, is expecting agencies to understand the business use case. You got to think about agency owners. Agency owners are in it to trade their time for money. By default, that makes them unevolved business people. Evolved business people don't trade their time for money, do they? They trade their money for assets that can then be used to grow into the future. You, as the evolved entrepreneur who has this amazing business idea, is now talking to the unevolved agency owner. Get offended if you want. Leave a comment down below. And you're expecting them to understand the business case. I got laughed out of the room multiple times for every startup. Lead Shark, why would you build a lead gen database? There's a million lead gen databases out there. Successful acquisition. Taplio, why would you just take the Tweet Hunter backend and put it onto LinkedIn? Why don't they just add LinkedIn to Tweet Hunter? Multi-million-dollar acquisition. Omni, why do you need another cold emailing tool? Yet to be seen where that one goes, but you can see the pattern here. Don't expect evolved insights from unevolved people. Agencies don't understand. And I'm not saying the agency owner themselves is unevolved, it's the business concept. Starting an agency is level 1 of entrepreneurship. Starting a course or a community is level 2, because then you get free money for no work. And then building a SaaS is level 3, building an asset that you can then scale without trading any time or money for it. So don't expect level 3 insights from level 1 people. One of my friends, Michael Taylor, says this the best way. He said, don't outsource Steve Jobs. You have to be the driver of the insights and the business case for your startup. You have to go in knowing how your startup's going to make money and the minimal amount of features that need to be in that startup in order to make it that money. And the agencies are going to push back. I had the developer on this new SaaS, someone who I met in person, who loved our content, etc. I had handed him finished designs. And one of the first things he said was, Alex, these designs look terrible. I'm going to have to hire a designer on my own and redo it. And I said, sure, let's try it your way, because sometimes this works out in the other way. And he handed me back the absolute worst designs I've ever seen. Bad color scheme, bad placement, etc. What's to be said about this developer is he understood they were bad. Because when I said, let's just do the other designs, huh, bud? He knew that I was right, and we built it according to the spec that we had originally planned out. And guess what? The SaaS is fire now. The interface is easy to use. It's very simple to log into because I spent that time becoming my own Steve Jobs. I didn't want to outsource my Steve Jobs to an agency that's only going to put in a quarter of the work or half the work. Which brings me to mistake number 3 you're making when you're hiring an agency, which is expecting non-owners to care as much as owners. An agency is going to have 10 active projects, let's say. 10 active projects. And 11 if you count their main project, which is growing their own agency. 90% of their brainpower is spent growing their own agency, being their own Steve Jobs. Then they have 10% left for clients. And if they have 10 clients, you're getting 1% for each of those clients. So you are now paying $60,000 to $100,000 to get 1% of somebody's brain, which is okay if you get them in execution mode. There are people that work at McDonald's. They don't have to be the smartest people in the world, but they can fry a French fry and put it in the bin, put a little salt on it, and do that every single day. A developer can also do that. If you're like, this is the tech stack, this is the page we're building. Don't worry about whether it delivers value to clients. Don't worry about whether the font needs to be different. Just build what's on the sheet. You'll get some good stuff, and it's okay. You can have 1% of your brain power, and you can do that. But when it comes time to start making decisions, you need somebody who's committed 100%. And the only person who's going to be committed 100% to your startup idea is you. You can't just have a crazy idea like, I want to start a lead gen database and then hire a team to do it, or it's going to cost you tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you're going to end up with trash at the end of the day. And what I found is you can't even outsource it to other co-founders. I've heard other business people on YouTube and on podcasts say that you can get your other founders to be the brains, but I haven't found that to be true. You need to be the driver of all of this. You need to map out your startup. You need to map out exactly what you're going to do. And then once you have some resources, sure, you can start hiring people and you can start scaling. But you can get to your first $1 million a year with just yourself and some freelancers you find on Upwork or in your network. And you should. There's no reason in 2023 to add co-founders for their insights. You as the business owner need to drive your startup to $1 million a year before you bring on any founders, before you bring on any other people. And if you do that, you have the highest chance of success. I don't want to raise any more money. I don't want any more co-founders. I honestly don't even want to work with agencies. I just want to work with freelancers that are 100% committed to the project. Because if you can hire a freelancer, you get him on board 100%. He's only working on your project. You pay him well, 2 to 3 times what he would make in a month at an agency. Then now this guy can focus and he can build. And he's not distracted by ownership. Ownership also distracts people. Because let's say you hire this developer, average salary in India is $1,500 a month. You pay him $3,000 for a month so that he'll only focus on your thing. And he's thinking as an owner the whole time. Now he's got that risk thing playing the whole time. He's, oh, should the fonts be different? How do I get users to be bought in? But instead, if he's got the cash, he can instead think about that. Alex has paid me $3,000 so that I'm focused on building this project exactly as he mapped out. And then he's going to sit there and he's going to use his brain power. You're going to get way more than 1% out of this freelancer because he's only focused on your project. You might get 70%, and he's going to build a good project for you. That's why I'm never going to work with an agency again, and why I most likely won't be adding any more partners to any projects that I ever do in the future. Projects are going to make money from day one. They're going to scale to 1 million without adding any outside people. And if they can't do that, they weren't worth our time in the first place. Think about that before you think about hiring an agency. How about you? Do you agree, disagree? Let me know in the comments below. Let's get a conversation going. The more engagement we get on these videos, the more likely I am to continue making them. Smash that like button for more content like this, subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Berman.